Hey all you zealots and zerglings out there, it's time for another tutorial video with the Mad Hive. This time we're going to be covering a race that I've neglected so far in my tutorials, the Terrans. Of course, if you've been playing the single player mission, you probably already know quite a bit about the Terrans. I mean, you haven't had much choice if you want to actually play it. But, you know, maybe you can learn something new from this, I don't know, or reinforce something that you hadn't quite put together yet, even though you were maybe subconsciously aware of it. Now, this video, we're going to cover a little bit about the command center and what it can do, but I want to focus mainly on the add-on system in StarCraft 2, which is completely different. All the old add-ons are gone. They're no longer allowed to build those anymore. Command Center no longer has any add-ons. The ComSat station has been replaced by turning the Command Center itself into an orbital command. And the nuclear silo is now replaced, or has been completely moved off into its own building in the Covert Ops, or the Ghost Academy. Which, you know, the Covert Ops is also part of that building because the science facility is gone, so its add-ons are also moved out. The physics lab is now the fusion core for getting your battle cruisers. Only the production buildings can actually get add-ons now. The barracks, the factory, and the starport. And they get the same two add-ons. First of all is the reactor, which lets you build two units at the same time for one building. So I could build two Marines simultaneously off of this one barracks if it's got a reactor on it. And there's also the tech lab, which has two purposes. One, it lets you get the higher tech units, so I can get marauders off of a barracks, I can get siege tanks off of a factory, or I can get banshees out of a starport. Secondly, the tech lab also lets you research upgrades for the units in the buildings to which they are attached. So a tech lab on the barracks here would allow me to get research Stimpack. In factory tech lab I can get siege mode, and so basically all your upgrades are kind of in there. Now I'm dropping down my factory because I got my barracks up, and any moment now, as soon as I have the resources for it, I'm going to be putting down my first add-on. I just got my orbital command finished, but we'll get back to that in a second. There we go, I'm dropping down a reactor for my barracks, which would imply mass marines, because that's the only unit that I can build off of a barracks without a tech lab. So that would imply mass marines, or would it? Actually, what I'm going to demonstrate to you here in a moment is what is called the hot swap. So now my factory's done. But as you see, I'm not producing units from it. I'm not building any add-ons. I'm going to lift it off. And then I lift off my barracks. That's right. My barracks built it, but my factory can use it. That is what we call the hot swap. Yes, the factory could have built its own reactor, but then it would be sitting here not producing units. It'd be producing its add-on. But now with the hot swap, I can get out twin Hellions, which I could say use for early harass. Meanwhile, my barracks is going to put up a tech lab.
Add-on complete.
Now, technically, once these Hellions are done, I could probably swap these back if I wanted and start pumping out Marines, and then maybe using this to tech lab to research, say, the Infernal Pre-Igniter for the Hellions, which gives them increased range and possibly damage. I don't remember. I don't use Hellions that often, and I'd like to point out, while I am sending these guys out for early harass, I forgot about them and I don't actually do it, but I've shown the point of using the hot swap so that I could get them out. And now I've built my starport, and now I'm going to move the starport over here to the reactor, which will allow me to get fast medevacs, or at least it would have if I weren't supply blocked. But, you know, this isn't about proper macroing. This is just kind of about learning the concept. So now once I actually have supply, I could get twin medevacs out. I could actually get twin Vikings out if I wanted to. And actually, since this factory is not doing anything, I should actually be building more add-ons that I can say use for this barracks. But actually, I'm not thinking, and I just use the barracks to build its own add-ons, so... Still perfecting my Terran technique. Also building a second command center, which is a common Terran tactic. Build your command center inside the safety of your base, and then fly it to your expansion. Of course, this one has already got its orbital command, which gives it some new abilities. One is the mule. Very important, the mule. I know I've said this in previous videos, but you always have to use your mules. It's only 50 energy. It can mine on top of the same mineral field just as an SCV is mining, so you can kind of mine the same thing twice as fast. I believe they carry more minerals per load. So, and it's a great way to get up your economy. They don't cost you anything but energy. So you have to make sure to use your mules. I think overall a mule supposedly mines about 300 minerals before it self-destructs, like it just did before our very eyes. So that's an extra 300 minerals, bang, that you get just for the cost of energy. But you don't want to use all your energy for that, because you want to save it a little up for scanner sweeps. Lets you detect cloak if you don't have any ravens or turrets out, missile turrets out yet, and that's also the best tool a Terran has to scout. Always has been. So while you primarily want to be using your mules, you also want to make sure to save a little bit for a scanner sweep. Now you see I'm actually getting an orbital command here now. It's another good technique, because I could have floated over here, landed, and then gotten my orbital command, but by doing it here, it's generating energy as I'm flying it over here to the expansion, which is just more energy I have later to use for mules. Mules, mules, mules. So that's a technique I've seen used, so I often employ that myself. Because the more energy it has when it gets here, the more energy you can get for mules. I don't think you lose too much that you could be mining in here if you got it here just a little bit sooner, because getting energy in your command center is very important. Of course, now I'm supply blocked yet again, so I can't get any SCVs out here just yet. But what I can get out here is mules. Yeah, I'm harping on this quite heavily, but it's very important. Now you're probably wondering, if I keep supply blocking myself, why am I not using the third ability of the orbital command to call down extra supplies? Well, that's simple. It's not really the best use of your energy. I would really save that for an emergency, like someone came into your base and destroyed half your supply depots and you're majorly supply blocked. Then you might want to use some energy to call down supplies, but it's a lot. I mean, that's 3 different abilities to save energy for, and you want to be using your mules primarily and then saving energy for the occasional scan. So that's why I would use the supply drop very, very rarely. But hey, it's your choice. Of course, what I haven't talked about here is the second form of the command center, which is the planetary fortress. Now, it's probably recommended that your first couple of command centers you get orbital commands, just because you can get more mules. Say I got 3 mules at this base, so you know you get your economy going a lot faster.
Research.
Now, once you get to your 3rd and 4th bases, then it's probably your choice. Planetary fortress is probably better when you've got a base out in the middle of nowhere. Like same over here at this high yield, it's kind of hard to defend. So planetary fortress will help you there. But the first couple, you definitely want to get orbital commands. At least that's my experience.
Additional supply depots required.
As you can see, I'm moving my army out here, getting ready for my final push.
Additional supply depots required.
Continuing to get supply blocked, so I'm running my SCVs out here to build more supplies. No, I'm not using the call down, even though I'm not using my energy efficiently, but still working on my Terran technique, getting all my timings down. I can get up a decent army, but I'm still working on my Terran macro just a bit. As you can see, since I've got a ton of minerals.
Research complete.
But it's not important for me to maximize my efficiency when I'm just trying to teach. maybe some people, oh, and this unfortunate overlord's going to pay the price of being out of position. And now this is when you want to save some energy for some occasional scanner sweeps. See, I just threw down a sweep here, so I can see that this ramp is clear for my units to run up. So they stim, charge up the ramp, and see, they knew it was clear. That's just personal preference for me. It's always good to know what you're running into. I mean, if I ran up here and just ran into a complete wall of units, I'm going to lose a lot before I can pull back out. So, you know, you got to save some energy for a scanner sweep or two here and there. It's good for scouting, it's good for cloak detection, it's good for point for your army. It's just good plain fun. So it looks like this Zerg is pretty much cleaned up now. It throws a couple of roaches at me at the end there, but that's not going to get much. So anyhow, I hope this was informative. Maybe you already knew this stuff. Maybe you learned a little bit something new. Hopefully you took at least one thing away from this. And if that one thing was that I am absolutely the awesomest, well, then that's okay too. And the computer's going to surrender because he too knows that I am the awesomest. And that'll be it for this tutorial video. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you again soon.